Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, that website address for you is theclinicaltrialsguru.com. And I love getting questions. And today's question I actually got, and it's going to be a little bit of a shameless plug, but I'm excited to roll this product out. It's my Introduction to Clinical Research DVD. And today's question I got from someone who already ordered the DVD. And I'll keep this person's name completely anonymous. I'm not sure if they would like their name all over the internet. But I appreciate you making the purchase and emailing me. I see that several people purchased the DVD today and the first day it's available. So shameless plug, go to my blog and check out Introduction to Clinical Research DVD. So anyways, this person asks a good question. I've been coordinating clinical trials for about 11 years. And just recently was given the job of negotiating contracts and budgets. I wanted to see if you could give me any information about this topic. I have looked online and I'm not finding a whole lot of info there. And then this person says, I also purchased this DVD for the purposes of my research coordinators reviewing this and any new employee that may come along for training purposes. So thank you. Before I get into your question about negotiating contracts and budgets, let me just tell you that this DVD is perfect for research clinics. I mean, I don't care if you just buy one and share it. That's fine. This is what I made this DVD for, because there's other training programs out there, sure, but they're very costly, and mine is, I feel it's at a good price point. So anyways, check it out. Today's the first day that it's available. Okay, so about contracts and budgets. So there's several things. Believe it or not, I'm going to do a bunch of videos on this. And on the bonus DVDs included in the DVD that you'll see some interviews, some fantastic interviews with Anna Marquez, and we talk about negotiating contracts and budgets for like an hour. But just to keep this one very short, when you negotiate contracts and budgets, we're going to really break it down into the budgets first, and then the contracts later. And for the contracts, I'm lucky to have an attorney as a business partner, so I let him handle the contracts as far as the language and the wordage. But I'll talk about some key points towards the end of this video. But let's focus first on the budget. So when you get the budgets, the most important thing you want to understand is that the sponsor expects you to ask for an increase. Okay, they don't just, they give you that. I'm sure some research sites just accept it the way it is, but they give it to you with the price somewhat marked down because they figure you're going to be negotiating. At least from my 9 years in this industry, that's what I've even heard this from monitors before. Not that they would probably tell you anymore, but this is, it's common knowledge. So when you get that budget, you want to really look and see if you're able to do that at those costs. And you definitely want to negotiate every line item. Now, sometimes you'll get the budgets with the Excel sheets where they'll list every single procedure and how much they'll reimburse you. And other times, you'll just get how much they'll pay you for each visit. So in either case, in the Excel sheet, you have more detail, so you can pinpoint exactly what you're going to increase in price. And some things you can't increase, such as how much you'll pay the study participants, because the IRB can see that as coercion. But the rest of the stuff, study coordinator time, physician time, study startup, those things you can negotiate. And I've negotiated 100% increases on these things in the past. I've even heard some people do 200% and 300% increases. But for the most part, if you can get 50% increase to what they sent you originally, you're doing good. You're doing pretty good. Just make sure that even after you negotiate that it's still a lucrative study for you and that you can really not just break even, but actually make a profit, because that's what we're in business to do, is actually make a profit out of this. That's what the purpose of business is. So make sure you negotiate every single line item, and if they don't have line items for the procedures, you can either ask for one or just increase the entire visit budget. And be prepared to hear several things in reply. Be prepared to hear about the Sunshine Act. That's I've actually interviewed Darshan Kulkarni on the show before. He's a producer of the show, a friend of the show. We talk extensively about this. I will link to it. But it's basically, it's not really intended for research sites, but it's a loophole where we fall into it, and it is another leverage point for the sponsors to try to negotiate our costs down. So be prepared to hear that, be familiar with it, and be ready to negotiate. And you may also hear that they want some kind of proof, some kind of documentation regarding your overhead for your site. So if you get like 10% overhead, you might want to ask for 30%. And there's nothing wrong with that, but be prepared to show some kind of documentation. So what I would do is look at other research clinics in your area, or better yet, because they're public records, universities in your area, and see what their overhead is and what their overhead policy is. These are all public documents for the most part. So look up some of those. Just do some Google searches for universities in your area, and as far as their overhead policy for their research department, specifically clinical research department. And then look at that and kind of make one of your own as well. You can use that as a model. I wouldn't just totally plagiarize it, but use it as a model and then build your own off of there, because you are running a business and you have overhead. I mean, you definitely should have a policy in place. Now, when it comes to the contracts, there's certain things that you want to make sure are in there. The first one is an indemnification clause, which makes sure that your PI is held harmless if he or she follows the protocol, should someone in the study get injured or harmed. Another thing is the payment days. Make sure that it's specified in the contract exactly when payments will be expected at your site. If it's 30 days, make sure that they specify 30 days after what? Is it 30 days after we enter the data? Or is it 30 days after the monitor reviews the data that we entered? Because that can actually be 60 or 90 days. So you want to make sure it's very specific in there. And also, the sponsor does have a right to terminate the study at any time. Make sure you get at least 1 or 2 months advance notice before they can terminate a study from you. You may not always get that, but it's always good to ask for, and it's always good to know at least 1 or 2 months ahead of time if the sponsor is planning on canceling the study or terminating the study. So hopefully these things help. I'm going to do more videos on this. So I'll put the links to some interviews that I've done in the past, and it's hours of content right there. And I really hope you enjoyed the DVD. Let me know how it is. And I talk a little bit about contracts and budgets in there too, but it's at a very basic level for coordinators or people who are brand new to research to just learn the core concepts of this. I want to end by giving my Clinical Trial Guru producers a shout out. That's Sarah Elizabeth Siegler, Resolve Research Solutions, Accurate Clinical Trials, Earthheart Clinical Trials, PTNR, Patrick Stone. We have Darshan Kulkarni, Biopharm Systems, Mozio, Zymewire, South Coast Clinical Trials, and Breakthrough Clinical Trials. And if you're interested in being a producer, it's $99 for a lifetime membership. Email me, dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com. And I have a few spots left. I'm not going to accept many more, so move fast on this. And also, check out the Introduction to Clinical Research DVD. It's just available for sale today, February 11th, 2013. It's perfect for anyone who's just learning clinical trials. Hope this helps. Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com.